Hey everybody, Brian Leslie Fathery here. And with Family Secrets, we're glad that you're back with us here as we wrap up this course, course number 4 of guarding your marriage, the secret to guarding your marriage. And this is unit number 3, the final unit in this particular course. And we're going to talk about the secret to physically guarding your marriage. So there's several different points we want to make and follow through with all that. I'm going to give Leslie the lead on this one. She has some really solid and insightful thoughts to do this, and I will jump in as we go forward. So, baby, it's all yours.
The first thing we want to encourage you to do is to show love to your spouse without condition. No matter what's going on in your marriage, whether they did something, whether they said something, whether there's just outside circumstances pressing on your marriage, no matter what's happening, love your spouse without condition. No matter what's happening, take time to love your spouse. It's so very important that you show them love, regardless of what they've done, regardless of what they haven't done. You need to show love to your spouse. Love them. You promised and vowed to love them, and to love them through it all. And so make sure that you show them all the time, every day, that you love them. Do that without condition to what's happening. A lot of times there might be maybe some unfortunate things happening in your life, or it's just a downtime in your family or in your marriage even, and so you don't want to pull away from your spouse in the middle of hard times. You want to draw near to your spouse in those times when you're guarding your marriage. Even when it's hard, even when there's tough things going on, you want to draw near to your spouse and show them love and let them show you love. It's so very important to keep that link physically in place.
I'm going to come at that same thought from a different angle. And I've seen this happen many, many times. I'm going to just say it pretty bluntly and pretty straightforward because it's just kind of how I am. Listen to me. Sex is not a weapon.
That's right.
Sex is not a tool to get what you want, men or women. Sex is not a weapon to punish your spouse for things that are not going well in your life. The intimacy of sex is something that you give to each other unconditionally. And you show now there's always to show love. I know that. But I know that when we say show love, most people, their brain are going to go to the intimacy of their sex life, which is great. That's fine. We talked in one of the other units in this course about the marriage bed being honored and undefiled. And so we want to address that, but know that it's not a weapon. If you're using your sex life as a weapon or as a resource to get what you want, stop. Stop. Because loving your spouse without condition means loving each other physically without a condition. There's no condition. No silent treatment.
No holding it over the other one.
No holding back because you're mad. None of that. It has nothing to do with that. Nothing. I can't tell you, and it's really none of your business, but I'm going to be transparent, but I can tell you there were times where either I was not happy with her or she wasn't happy with me, and then we still had times of intimacy while we still weren't quite all the way together because we weren't holding back physical love from one another just because we weren't in the best of moods or the best of place as a couple in that moment. Never have we used that as a tool, as a manipulative tool, or as a weapon towards each other in any way, shape, or form. So we show love without condition, which is emotional, physical, spiritual. We show it in every aspect. But don't use the things that you have at your disposal, and a lot of that is your intimacy. And let me say this also: sex is not intimacy, but it's intimate. Intimacy goes beyond sex. But don't use that as a weapon. Show love, show intimacy without condition. And one of the ways that you can keep doing that is spending time together. And don't neglect your time together. On our notes it says FaceTime. So in other words, sitting in the same room, watching a movie is good. Sitting in the same room and Leslie's doing one thing and I'm doing another, that's okay. But what you need is time together, FaceTime. Even in conversation, what a conversation.
Yeah.
We need to get back to learn how to converse with our spouses,
Sure.
and loving each other physically,
Yeah.
and guarding ourselves and guarding our marriage, because it's amazing to me. You can sit in a room and have 9 people in the room, and no one, and even though they can be sitting on the same couches, sharing chairs, and they're isolated because of technology, because of devices, because of whatever. It could be the film, it could be, they could be playing on their PlayStation, they could be doing Skype with somebody, they could be, you name it, Pandora, Spotify, you pick the app, and they're doing all this stuff, got the headset in, sitting right as close as Leslie and I are sitting right now, and not actually spending time together. So spend time together, not just time in the same room. Right. Anything to add to that?
Yeah. So we talked on the last unit about listening to one another. Part of that listening is actually looking at one another. If I can get him to actually look at me, and he can get me to actually look at him, then the chance that we are going to actually hear each other, and the chance that we're actually going to communicate, it goes way up, because we are actually engaging one another with our eyes, and that's a really important thing to do, so that you have good communication.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It guards your marriage, because you have that connection.
Yeah, that's good. Next,
we're going to act married. We may have already discussed this earlier, but we're going to go over it again, because we think it's really important.
Yeah.
We see in this world a whole lot of people who get married, but they have no idea what that means, and they continue to act single when they are actually married to someone. You just can't do that and have a marriage succeed.
No.
Your successful marriage comes from acting married and remembering that you are married. So what we mean by that is you're not going to run out with your buddies every night to the bar, or even to church things, if you want to put it in something nicer than the bar. It doesn't matter. You can't run off with friends every night and never be home with your spouse. That just doesn't create an atmosphere of intimacy like he was talking about. You have to act married. You have to know that you are betrothed to that person. You are connected to that person. You're married to that person, connected vitally to that person. So you have to be in their presence. It's okay to go out and have friends. It's okay to go out once in a while and grab a Coke or get coffee or get lunch with somebody. It's okay to run to a movie with somebody, but you can't do it every single day, and you can't do it even every single week sometimes.
Right.
You have to know that you're spending time with your spouse, being married. You're in the home together, being married.
Yeah, absolutely. I'll jump right onto that. You are no longer single.
Yeah.
It's a profound statement. You're no longer single. The moment you decide to say "I do" is the moment you lost the right, put it that way, the right to act like you're single. Because now every action, everything, every deed, every thought, every move you make sounds like an 80s song. Everything that you do is now got a ripple effect with your spouse.
Right.
Now you are connected. I'm in my brain. I'm sorry, my brain thinks of weird things. I'm, the Robert Downey Jr. moment in one of the Iron Man or Avengers. Can't remember which one it is. And him, the little kid's like, how I know? We're connected.
Yeah.
We're connected, and because we're connected, my actions are no longer without repercussion to her. So if I do something stupid, it affects Leslie. Yeah. If she does something, out of line, it affects me. So everything we do is interconnected.
Right.
Everything.
And we think about doing things together.
Yeah.
Whenever we're trying to decide what we're going to do for fun, or what we're going to do with our day or whatever, we think about how does it affect the other one? Are you going to come do it with me?
Yeah.
We have always loved the fact that we get to do things together now.
It's fun. It's really a lot of fun. Every day I'm like, so what's your schedule look like? What's on your agenda today? And because we do things that aren't together, certain work things, certain business things, certain things in life. Leslie's the main caregiver of our house. She's the main. We homeschool our children, So she's the main educator in our home. So her schedule may be spending time. We got one left to finish up. She's wrapping up her high school career. And so she may be on schedule to do something with that particular daughter that particular day. So, and I may be running, doing other errands and doing other things. Maybe I'm doing a video for my business, or maybe I'm doing some computer work for this ministry, different things that we do, but we stay connected, even though we may be doing separate things, and we always find a way to come back and be together. Yes. And everything we do is joined together for the common good, common goal of our family, and even more so for us, because it's come at some point, and it's getting closer and closer that we're going to be the only ones left in the house until grandbabies show up, and then it'll get crazy. But anyway, we're going to be the only ones, so we have to learn to act married. We have to learn to stay married and do things together. Now, I can do things together with Leslie, with other people. I can go other places with her, but I'm not going to go places without her unless we have that conversation. I may go do something with some friends, with some guys. I've got a young man that's become a really good friend. I love this young man, and he calls me every single day of my life, and we have a 10 to 30 minute conversation, and I think it's just fantastic. I just love this guy. And so he'll call me up like, so when can we do lunch? And we do lunch on a pretty regular basis. Got a little bit of a bromance going on. But Leslie knows that. And sometimes she's like, why don't you bring your wife with you? Because even he understands that we act like we're married. If you talk to people about us, they don't talk about us without the other being involved in that conversation. They don't talk about Brian fathering. They talk about Brian and Leslie fathering. They talk about Leslie and Brian fathering. We do things together. And then as we go into more courses down the road with family, we actually taught our family, our children, to have the same mentality as a family. We do things together. We act married, and guess what? Then once we learn how to act married, we can learn how to act like a family. It's an amazing thing. Remember, the goal of all these courses, the goal of every unit that's on anything in Family Secrets, is to teach you to have an unbreakable family. To have an unbreakable family, you have to have an unbreakable marriage. It's not unbreakable if you're separate. It's not unbreakable if you're doing things not with each other. And if you can't stand each other, what are you doing getting married? If you can't take being with each other 24/7, we need some prayer. Call us, we'll counsel you, we'll help you, because we love being together. We don't like it when we're apart. We were apart.
I miss him. I miss him if he's gone for a whole day. And he's worked jobs outside of the home where he's been gone. He's pastored where he's kind of in and out. He's done all the gamut of things. But if he's not home for the day, boy, I miss him by the end of the night. And I've always felt like when we have had to go out and do things separately, we feel like the other one has missed all this time. And there's no way for us to share everything that happened in that time with the other one. And so we miss each other if we're not together.
I mean, one of the worst times we ever had in our marriage was we were moving one place to another, and I stayed behind for about a month away from my family, and it was just horrible. I spent not quite 30 days away from Leslie and the kids, chasing employment and some things that we needed to do at that moment. And I'll never forget when she came, because she came to pick me up because I was using a friend's car, and she came to get me. She was like, "You're never doing that again. You can never be away from me for that length of time ever again, because we act married, because we love each other, we care about each other, and we want to spend time together." Isn't that crazy? Married couple wants to spend time together. Which leads me to the next thing. Watch for outside negative influence. Because the culture wants to tell you how you should behave in your marriage. They want to tell you that you should be separate. They want to tell you that the husband's always an idiot. They want to tell you that the women, what you should do is grab that glass of wine and forget about your husband. They want to talk to you about how to behave, how to act, and how to be. Do not allow outside influences to dictate to you how to act inside your marriage. I mean, pay attention to what you're watching. You watch movies, watch TV, watch your entertainment, and watch how they treat marriage.
Yeah.
Look at how they treat the family.
Mm-hmm.
They have your children badmouthing you. They have your children they have the children running the household.
Yeah.
They have all sorts of cultural things that we told you when we started this thing. In the very first unit we did, that we're going to be countercultural and radical, because we want you to understand that as a Christian, unbreakable family, you have to stand out. And you were not created to mingle in with everything going around you. You were created to stand out. You were created to shine.
Yes.
Scripture says that you are the light of the world, and a light cannot be hid. The best place to shine your light is together as a couple and together as a family. So you need to watch out for those negative influences. Friends can be great. Friends can be not good. It just depends. And we're not talking about the TV show. We're talking about actual friends and how they respond to you and talk to you about your spouse. If your friend is bad mouthing your husband and your wife, they're probably not your friend.
Or maybe if you hang around with a group of friends who badmouth their spouse in the group, that's maybe not the best place to be, because then you're picking up their ideas and their viewpoints. And if they're married and they're all okay with trashing their spouse, that's not probably okay for you.
Absolutely right. And it's okay to be countercultural in that too. I'll give you an example. I worked at a place. It was a parts place, and I worked on the sales counter. And a particular day was super busy, and I was working. Me and one other guy were working, and we were not really conversing with the clients except what do you need? Get the part, right? And people in this line, a bunch of, I'm just going to say it, backwoods redneck guys, and they're all bad mouthing their girlfriends and their wives, every single one of them, talking bad about their wives. And I'm just doing my job, trying to stay out of the conversation, because I don't want to get in it, because I'm going to tick somebody off. I'm not trying to do that. I'm just trying to sell parts. When all of a sudden one of the guys was at the counter facing me, and he said something really negative about his spouse. Really negative. And he looked at me and goes, "Don't you feel the same way about your old lady?" First off, I don't call Leslie my old lady. That's first. He didn't know that. And he asked the wrong guy the wrong question.
Yeah.
So I looked at him and said, "Actually, I don't know what's wrong with the rest of you people, but two best decisions I've ever made in my life. Number one is asking Jesus Christ into my heart as my Lord and Savior. And number two is asking my wife to be my wife." I said, those are the two best decisions I've ever made in my life. I don't know what y'all's problem is, but I have a fantastic wife. I have a wife that I love, that I care for, that I love going home to, that I don't have to look at you guys anymore. I can look at her when I get home. She's much prettier than the rest of you. And here's what was really cool. There's this older gentleman in the back of the line. He's probably in his late 60s, early 70s. And he's like, "Hey, man, about time somebody said something good about their spouse." And he and I had a 20-minute conversation about how great our wives were. Act married. Don't listen to the negative influence. Go countercultural with it. So be careful what you're listening to. Yeah. Be careful with the movies you're watching. You watch the social media that you're watching. Yes. Be careful. I grew up. I have a proclivity towards pornography, because when I grew up, it was very available in my home. And so I had a wrong image of women for a long time because of the availability of pornography in my house. My dad had all sorts of pornography in the house. Mom wasn't really too excited about that. And then, of course, at a young age, I began looking at that and reading that and looking at those things. And so it took me a while to get past that, get over that, because the demeaning of the female gender, the demeaning of women just become a sexual object in regards in pornography. So you got to be really careful what you allow into your mind. Even today, I'm almost, I'm pushing 60. And even today, certain things will trigger a thought from way back then. I'm like, get out of my brain, and move on. And so I have to be really careful about those things, even to this day, because of the influence that I had as a preteen and early teenager. You have to be careful about the negative influences that you allow in your life. And men, if you're a pornography watcher, reader, looker, I want you to tell you right now, you are setting a bad precedent for that child that you're raising, male or female. And I know it's really difficult not to see that stuff right now. It's super prevalent, especially online. It's so easy to see and get because the anonymity of it. So I'm going to hammer on this for just a second, because don't do it. Don't be a part of that. And be accountable to somebody. If it's something that you have a problem with, be accountable with someone and have them help you know what's going on with that. It's really, really important not to do that. Again, it's all about the outside negative influences and how they talk about marriage and the relationship in a marriage between husband and wife.
Mm-hmm.
What is it? What are the thoughts that you have about marriage? What are the thoughts that you have about physics? And I'm talking about physics. You got to turn that computer off, turn the thing off.
Yeah.
And if you got to get rid of it, get rid of it. If you have to put different applications on it to keep you from being able to go in and look and read and see things that you shouldn't be, do it. You know, it's worth the investment in you. It's worth the investment in your spouse, and it's certainly worth the investment in your marriage. It's a lot less costly than a divorce lawyer.
Yeah. Choose each other.
Yeah, that's a good word.
Choose each other. Choose that your spouse, your wife, your husband is worth more than the little bit of time of pleasure that you're going to have looking at something that's not
real.
Not real. Yeah, it's not real.
No.
Be very careful what you allow yourself to listen to.
Yeah.
Be very careful what you allow yourself to see.
Yeah.
Be very, very careful who you're around, what you're around, and the influence that it's having on you. That is how you guard your marriage physically.
Yep.
You have to choose your spouse above all that other stuff, all that other negative. And like he said, swim upstream. You know, be a salmon. That's what we always call ourselves. We are salmon. We're going against the culture. We're swimming upstream.
Yeah.
We're going to do it better. We're going to do it God's way.
Yeah.
And we hope that you're going to do that too.
Yeah. So remember, there's 3 ways to guard your marriage. There's spiritual, which is number 1. And if you're spiritually doing it right, these other things will not be as hard to do.
Right.
Secondly is emotionally or in your soul and your mind and your emotions, and how you handle that. And thirdly is physically, you know, literally physically guarding your marriage and doing things that protect yourself and your spouse physically.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, and guys, I just want, that's not on the physical, it's not even on our list today. Don't allow other men to say and do things towards your wife that you wouldn't want them doing to your wife or your daughter. Don't allow it. Yeah, and even you have to have a conflict and a verbal confrontation, do not allow it. You know, guard your spouse. Guard your spouse. Honor them in such a way that they feel privileged to be with you, that they feel privileged and honored to have you as their protector, their lover, their friend, and their lifetime partner. So with that said, we hope you got great value out of this. There'll be some resources at the bottom of you'll see the units. Underneath the units, you'll see the additional resources. So grab those, read those. There'll be some books and probably some blogs. We haven't put everything together at the moment of the video recording, so we'll have some really good resources for you to help you guard your marriage. It's a big secret, but we're not good at keeping them. We want to give you the answers to the secrets, all right? So we're looking forward to seeing you in the next course. We're looking forward to seeing you again at Family Secrets. Have a great day. Talk to you soon.